सारी रिकॉर्डिंग डाल दी, इतनी बनी है भैया, दिन में मुझे करनी बंद करना के लिए और नेट जा रहा था। Already we have discussed बाकी का जो रह गया था ये शुरू से। So we are going to start. Next is our dance upon nothing. So we are just discussing some idioms. We were discussing some idioms. So they say, suppose something and darken one's door means visit, and win the day, get victory. Day of doom means you can say that judgment day, and third degree means police matter, and between the devil and the deep sea in a desperate dilemma, and diamond cut diamond and encounter between two very sharp person, and black diamond means you can say coal, and to die in harness means to die while still at work, and terrible death, and you can say that to split the difference, to come to a compromise, do away with, abolish, do down, criticize, do as the Romans do, to adjust according to surroundings, to lead a dog's life, rest life, and next door to in the next house, you can say that. So, a double dealer means a deceitful person, double minded, undecided. Ups and downs means misfortune, and up and down means to and fro at daggers drawn, openly hostile, and high and dry, isolated. I'm just sharing the screen. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start about the communication, why communication is important in our life, folk and signals, and communication. And communication is the process of sending and receiving messages between parties. Now we are just discussing about the communication and process of sending and receiving messages between parties. And basic model of communication is the communication cycle. And now we are just focusing about the types and basic model of communication. So first of all, sender sending messages, and just receiver receiving messages properly. So this is the this is the channel, and this is the process we are following in communication cycle. So messages we are just communicating face to face, and video and telephone, speech and voicemail, and online email, letters, and so many messages we are sharing. This is called this is the part of cycle and model, basic model of communication, we can say like that. So with the help of communication and with the help of model, we are just sharing our thought, our experience, and our ideas front of people. So this is called we are encoding and we are decoding, and encode sender, and decodes we can say receiver. This is called now we are just focusing about some barriers, ideas are message, coded message sent, and barriers medium channel. So message received and message decoded and ID understand. So now we are just focusing about some barriers. So barrier should not be there, and should not be considered in communication. So the nature of communication, we can say senders and receivers, transmitters and receptors, and messages and channels, decoding and meaning and encoding and their feedback. So there are some channel, there are some forms, there are some models, and now we are just talking about some standards, and Sanders sending some messages, Sanders sending some ideas, messages, and now he or she just sharing their views and feedback, and receiver just receiving ideas and messages. So transmitters and receptor messages channels, so decoding, meaning and encoding, this is the part of the we can say the nature of communication. Then after the at the end of time, at the end we must focus about the feedback. So now senders and receivers each have goals and objectives. The sender may want to change the receiver's mind. The receivers may not want to have his mind changed. So this is very important objective we are discussing over here, about the goals, about the aim, about the about some importance of communication, importance of messages and receivers understanding. If receivers not getting or not understanding properly, it means there are barriers, and obstacles are there. So this is called barriers to communications in communication. So transmitters and receptors is equipment by which information is sent. Information can be sent verbally and non-verbally. So this is very important if we are having an interview. So we are not supposed to we are not supposed to we are not supposed to tell everything front of interviewer, and we are just if we are having some we are having some non-verbal skills and non-verbal communication, and our etiquettes are standing posture, where are standing, and our postures, gestures, and how to sit, how to stand, and even how to walk also consider during non-verbal communication. So information can be sent both non-verbally or verbally. So it is the equipment by which information is sent. This is called transmitters and receptors. Now messages and channels are the vehicles and by which information is communicated. So the most important part in communication is understanding, and we are communicating, and these are basic, and the most important part we can see, vehicles by which information is communicated. So we are just sending, we are communicating with people direct, with direct expressions, symbolic representations. This is the most important part in communications, direct expressions and symbolic representations. So now decoding, meaning and encoding, this is the main important part. We are just decoding our messages, we are finding out meaning, proper ideas, proper understanding, and now receivers and coding their ideas and sending them back. So we can get some idea, and we can get and we can say, and also we can correct many things during communications, and during sending, or sending and taking, after taking feedback. So decoding is the process of translating messages from their symbolic form into interpretations that can be understood. Meanings are the facts, ideas, feelings, and reactions or thoughts that exist within individuals, and act as a set of filters through which the decoded messages are interpreted. The role of decoding, meaning, and encoding is very important during communications. We are just translating, we are understanding, and from their symbolic form into interpretation that can be understood. So meanings about the facts, ideas, feelings, and views, and our thoughts, whatever reactions, and individuals, having individuals, and act as a set of filters through which the decoded messages are interpreted. And in encoding is the process by which messages are put into symbolic form. So during communication, during sending messages, sending, and this thing is very important. We need to decode our message, we need to decode our communication, and meaning is also, meaning should be proper, and your our ideas should be proper, so anyone can understand, anyone can get some, can take ideas from that. So then after the encoding, the process by which messages are put into symbolic form. So now feedback is the, like we can say, concluding part, and we can say commentary, commentary, and commentary, and we are just, complimentary closing, and we are just, taking feedback, our our audience also. So it's the process by which the receiver react to the sender's messages, what he or she has sent to us. It is necessary to let the sender know that the message was actually received, encoded, ascribed to the same meaning that the sender intended. Then after basic principles of, now we are just, talking about some basic principles of communication. It is impossible to avoid communicating. Communication is largely non-verbal, context of facts communication, and meanings are in people, not in words. So this is the, very important point we need to discuss over here about the basic principle. Basic, in basic part of communication, we need to focus about the, we cannot avoid, we cannot say it is impossible to avoid it is impossible to avoid communicating, because whenever we are talking, and whenever we need to discuss, so we need to have proper communication and proper channel we require. And communication is largely non-verbal, and this is, what, non-verbally we are talking. So we are not saying anything in front of people, and we are just, standing, and we are sitting, and we are just walking. So no need to, share, no need to discuss or share anything in front of them. So this is called, what, if, with the help of non-verbal communication, we are just, we are having communication with that, because our postures, gestures play a very vital role in communication. So context affects communication, so meanings are in people, not in word. This is also very important thing. So basic principles of communication. So now we are just continuing this topic. Communication is irreversible, and noise affect communications. Communication is circular. Creating common goal is essential. Communication has effect. So we are having, we can say, communication has effects. Creating common goal is essential, and communication is circular, and we are just talking with different people, we are having a communication with them, and we are just, noise, affect a lot in communication. So now we can say verbal and non-verbal messages. We need to discuss on this point clearly. Verbal and non-verbal messages we need to discuss. So basic ways in which people send and receive messages. So in verbal messages, messages sent verbally are messages expressed in words. So the science of semantics and non-verbal messages, about 65% of the meanings people get from a communications. We need to focus about the non-verbal communication, because our 65 to 70% of the, role of non-verbal communications, about 65% of the meanings people get from a communications: voice, physical movement, space, and your lips tell me no, no, but there is yes, yes in your eyes. So this is called, we are understanding, we are getting properly, and we are having, we are having these skills, we can judge anyone. So no need to say that we are not understanding, you need to write down something else. So our lips and non-verbal communication, say many things than words. So now adapting messages to purpose and the audience. increase the probability that communication will be successful. So we need, language, we need format and style. So, in communications, we have, we required lingua franca. Lingua franca is just like, we need to, discuss, and we need to have good communication, so we can continue our trade, we can continue our business. So for language is very important. Okay, so format is also very, main part of communication, because sometimes we need to send, and we need to send circular, we need to send format, and suppose we can say format of letter, format of report, and format of circular, and format of agenda, format of memo. So format is very important, because formally we are just, formally, in writing we are saying something, because in writing, we are taking something, formally in record, and this is also, very important. And many times we have discussed about the coder. Coder is also very important part of, writing, very important part of formatting, because we are just starting our format. So before writing any format, and before sending any format, we need to, focus about the, concise part. Conciseness is also, why it is important, because we are not using long statement, overstatement, because we just want to say about the crispy ideas, and main points, and we don't require any unnecessary details in, format. So concise part is very important format. Then after, it should be in order. So if we are using format in communication, so we need to, focus about the, order. So order means whatever we are trying to convey, and whatever we want to share something to one, so we need to, have a order. So order means we are starting with proper format, how to start their beginning part, and middle, and their last point. So for, order is very important in format or in communication. Then after, drafting. So D stand for drafting. So before giving any presentation, before giving any, any format, so we need to have a draft. So we can understand, and also we can revise many time, and also we can, make a rough idea what we are having, what we are going to discuss, and what we are going to write. So this is very important. Drafting is very important in communication. Then after, E stand for editing. If we want to add something, something is going on our mind, we want to change, or we want to add something during communication or during writing, so we can change it. So editing is also very important in communication. And last point, we need to discuss about the, R. R means revision. So revision is required, because we are sending this, format, we are sending this writing to, higher authority, and professionally, and people are, so they will, read it, and they will, they will read all these things properly. So we need to, revise before finalizing, or before, finalizing or sending this detail, this format. So we need to revision. So this is all about the coder. So coder is very important in communication. Concising part, ordering part, and drafting part, editing part, revision part is very important. So we need to adapting messages to purpose and audience. So this is, increase the probability that communication will be successful. So now, language play a very important part in communication. So appropriate language is the language that has been adapted to the receiver while retaining a naturalness with respect to the sender. So this is, what we need to discuss, or share something about the communication. So depends on the receiver, audience, and on the purpose. So this is what we need to discuss about the purpose. What depends on the receiver and depend on the audience and on the purpose. So now style is very important in communication. Formal, informal, simple, complex, natural, flamboyant. So this is what. So before finalizing any detail, any content, any context, so we need to focus about the style. So formally we are writing, or informally we are sending something simple, and either simple or complex, natural and flamboyant. So this is very important. So sorry, windows, this is windows, and non to self, non to self. So non to others, not non to others. This is very important. So adjectives selected by both the participants and his or her peers, and represent traits of the participant of which both they and their peers are aware. And I know my name, and so do you. And this is as active selected only by the participant but not by any of their peers, and represents information about the participant of which their peers are unaware. So I have not told you what one of my favorite and flavor is. So blind spot as activities that are not selected by the participant but only by their peers, and we could be eating at a restaurant and I may have gotten some food on my face. This is information is in my blind then, because you can see it but I cannot. So now adjective which were not selected by either the participant or their peers, I may disclose a dream that I had, and as we both attempt to understand its significance, a new awareness may emerge known to neither of us before the conversation took place. So now 55 adjectives used to describe the participant. So now we can use some adjectives here: able, calm and confident, friendly, independent, knowledgeable, nervous, proud and responsive, and sentimental tenses, trustworthy, shy, searching, and self assertiveness, reflective, organizing or not, loving or not, intelligent or not, happy and unhappy in their part. So now we can use some this and dignified, cheerful, adaptable, bold, clever, energetic, helpful, introverted, and macho, and relaxed, self-conscious or not, spontaneous, wise, and sensible, religious, powerful, and kind, idealistic, extroverted, complex, and brave. So this is profile, and also we need to focus about the noun of this word, pronoun, adjective, adverb. We must have knowledge on that. This is called parts of a speech. So we are not discussing about the grammar part here, because if we want to have a good communications, so we need to also focus about the grammar part also. So where we are using adjective, where we are using adverb, preposition, and the conjunctions part, interjection part. So why we are using this thing, because we need to understand and we need to write also what we are what we want to say, what we are trying to convey exactly, what does it mean. So these all things should be in our mind properly. So now we can profile has been stored, and so your profile has been stored here. Your Jolly window initially looks like this. So yourself, you non to self, and not to self. So this is for accepting, adaptable, bold, brave, caring, cheerful, clever, complex, dependable, dignified, energetic, extroverted, giving, happy, helpful, idealistic, and the intelligent, introverted, kind, knowledgeable, logical, loving, mature, modest, nervous, observant, and they organize, and they are powerful, proud, quite reflective and relaxed, religious, responsible and responsive, searching, self-assertive. Self-assertive is very important in communication. We are having positive approach and we are having positive attitude. So whatever we are, whatever we want to say or whatever we want to do in our life, we should be, have a positive attitude, and self-assertiveness should be there. So then we can do anything, and then we can do anything in our life. So these are some words we need to focus. So barriers for affecting communications, barriers means, problems, and we can say, problems and difficulty, and we can simply say we are not able to communicate properly, and whatever we are trying to say to someone, if somebody is not getting properly, not understanding our communication, it means it is failed. So we are not supposed to tell them clearly and properly, exactly what they want from us. So these are some differences, tangible. So gender, age, and national and socioeconomic class, educational level, urban and rural residences. This is, these are differences. We need to focus about all these points. So now, first of all, gender part, major influence on the way we communicate with others. So when man and woman work together in a group, men tend to be more assertive and self-confident. Women are more likely than man to express their emotions, to reveal how they feel about the situation. So they go see the most important role of gender in communication. We need to understand it clearly, what about the role of gender, because major influences we can see in our day to day life. So major influences on the way we communicate with others. So when man and woman work together, so we can see the difference. Man tend to be more assertive, more clearly, and they are very assertive and self confident. Sometimes we can see women are more likely to than a man to express their emotions, to reveal how they feel about a situation. So we can feel these things in our day to day life also. So gender affect a lot in communication. So now we are having age. We have seen lot of time, we have seen this thing, young people and old people communicate in different way. This is what age factor. So young people and old people communicate in different ways, and we do tend to judge a statement by different standards if we know the speaker's age. A person's age or gender is not important in judging the truth or wisdom of what that person say. So their maturity, their educational backgrounds, and the different eras in which they grow up make a generation gap. So this is also a very important part. Intangible difference, we can say perception and their motivations and ego and the negative and in negative emotions. So we have seen many times this thing perception. So everybody has have a different perception. So we cannot say he is correct or she is not correct, he is incorrect. So this is called perception, what we are having perception, what we are perceiving, and it is depend on individual personality. So every individual is having different perception in our life. Then after motivation is also important in communication. If we want to speak, or if we want to if we want to if we want to convey others about the, if we want to motivate to others, so we need to first of all, the thing should be in our mind, we are motivating to other, and we are not saying you can't do that, this is not your cup of tea, and you are not having this such kind of potential, you're not having such kind of stamina. So this is called negative approach. So we just need to motivate our student and motivate them to learn. So this is called in present time education is based on student and student centric education there. So being a teacher, being a professor, we need to have a we have motivated and also motivate our student, and ego is also there. So perception is our physical limitations are a screen through which we perceive things that exist in our environment. Our perception is also limited by a psychological screen that we have developed. So choosing from among the many things within our range of perception, those that we will notice and block out, the rest is called selective perceptive perception. So then after this is our perception, will you string up your room and why, what's the messy? This is things. And selective perception allow us not only to block out things that are there, but also to see more things than are there, and leads us to make our own reality. So most clearly seen in the human tendency to stereotype others. So motivation, we can say a motive is a reason for action. The most strongest motivation are those that are most personal. We are motivating by money, fame, power, and love, status, security, skill, ambitions. It can be both positive or negative. So these are, vision and a closed way of thinking, especially about abstract topics such as vision and politics. So the person with tunnel vision is one who has firmly fixed ideas. The opposite side is open-mindedness. Person with tunnel vision has attitude, seems to say, I have already made up my mind. Don't confuse me with the facts. So this is, vision. So now our ego defensiveness. So our response pattern, which a person who follows this pattern see a disagreement as a personal attack. So a self-centered communication more than just being selfish. Now our negative emotions, so almost always obstacles to good communication, especially true if the emotion is uncontrolled, unfocused, or misdirected. So this is distortions, barriers, so distractions, semantic, absence of feedback, climate, status, and power, differences. So now distractions about it occurs when people are constantly coming and leaving for one reason another, and experience the frustration that is created by these distractions. Traffic flow, this is what, if we are doing something, we are sitting alone and we are having focus on such a particular thing, if somebody is coming and going leaving and for one reasons or another reason, this is called frustration. This is called frustration, and we are having highly distraction part is also, this is what, the distractions in communication. Now semantic problems is also barriers in communication. So distortions in communication come from semantics, the use of words or expressions which have a different meaning for the sender or receiver, created when communicators use technical jargon uses common to a particular field or specialization. So, status and differences in communications are likely to parallel the differences in power, and imbalance or imbalance things, and negotiating power leads the high power and party to perform and significantly better than the low power party. So now, some guidelines for effective communication. We must follow these guidelines if we are just communicating. So this is what, what we are just trying to convey. So this is, what, guidelines. So we are just using some guidelines for effective communication. So first of all, be exact, be proper, and be frank, and frank and freely. So we need to just focus about the exact. So for effective communication, we need to have some guidelines, and also we have to work on that. So use the word is carefully, avoid overgeneralizations, be sensitive to having in conversation. Also, do not to overuse you or your count from 1 to 10. So these are recognize that you don't know all the answer to questions. Always remember that what others may not mean the way we think they mean it. Focus on common interest rather than differences. Think positive. So this is very important. If we want to try, if we want to understand about it, improving. So improving communications effectiveness in changing, questioning, clarifying communications, eliminating noise, distortions, and role reversible, or understand the other's position by actively arguing and his positions to his satisfaction. So active listening, reflective and reflecting, we require active listening in communication. As we know that four skills are very important in communication: are listening, are speaking, are reading, and are writing. If you're a good listener, so then you can become a good speaker. So this is also very important part of communication. So now what is business communication? So we know that sending, receiving, of messages in an organization, this is called business communication. We are sharing, we are getting, we are just communicating, and we are understanding things properly, and we are conveying messages properly. So this is called we are just having a good communication, and we are just sending and receiving others views and just sending them. So message in an organization. So this is intentional and unintentional. This is very important. Our standing properly. We are standing properly or not. We are sitting properly or not, and we are having good. We are having etiquettes or not. This is very important part of communication. Now, we are just discussing about some characteristics of business communication. They are complex and group oriented, task oriented, and database. So, the most common and the most important part, we must have such kind of skills, you know, database, task oriented. We must have task oriented and group oriented, and we need to share and also discuss among group, and also share our point of view and views, and a lot of things we need to discuss our leadership qualities and teamwork. These all things are very important. These are characteristics of business communication. So now this is a the people to people communication, and typing, people to paper communications, and copying, paper to paper transfer, and storing, paper to file transfer, and information like files to people transfer. So we can simply judge, and we can simply say this point. This is very important. In communication, we have discussed about some points. These points always should be in mind. So the first point is telephone. So people to people communication is called telephone communication, and typing, people to paper communications, copying, paper to paper transfer, storing, paper to file transfer information, and these are some parts and natures of a business. So now employees responsibility, they should serve, and these points we need to understand. Communication skills are listening, are writing, and group discussion, interpersonal communications, public speaking, non-verbal communication, problem solving behavior, telephone communication. This is, skills. So these, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is, 10 skills. It should be in a tape. Listening. Listening means we must listen properly what others are saying, then we can execute anything. So then after writing part, interviewing part, group discussion is also very important, because this is, group activity, and we are just discussing among group, and we are just sharing their ideas, views, feeling to other. So problem solving behavior, and then after your communication part. So then after some ethics, some values we have to have in our mind before starting communication, because ethics is the, consideration of the rightness of wrongness of what to do and what not to do. This is called, communications ethics is the consideration of the rightness of wrongness, what we are saying and what we are not saying, what is this and what is not that. So we must focus about some ethics also. We need to have some ethics in communications. So this is channels and communication network. Also, we can say CEO and Chief Executive Officer. So Vice President having a role of, and research, development, and manufacturing, and productions, development, and their sales, marketing, and service technical assistance, and individual customers. So then after, line network and the staff relationship. So between the members of an organization, they are most often advisory in nature. So former networks are, often indicated by an organization chart that display who answers to whom. Former networks indicate a unity of command. Formal communication network contain more of the written, predictable, and routine communications. So informal networks are, unofficial channels through which information passes in an organization. So informal networks are faster, richer, and often more accurate, and communication is more likely to be face to face. So then after grapevine, so this is also because using formal communication, and network takes, just a minute, network, and yes, formal networks are, legitimate and often indicated by an organization chart that displays who answers to whom, and formal networks indicate a unity of command. Formal communication network contain more of the written, predictable, and routine communication. Then after the informal networks are unofficial channels through which information passes in an organization. Informal networks are faster, richer, and often more accurate, and communicate is more likely to be face to face. Then after the grapevine, communication is also very important, because using formal communications network takes so much time and effort. People may have choose to not communicate at all if they have no formal channels available. So even gossiping, rumors usually provide accurate information. Such networks are called grapevine. So this is informations flow in business organization, information flow in business, downward communication, upward communication, and horizontal communication. This is very important. Occur when a manager or supervisor sends a message to one or more subordinate. Occur when messages flow from subordinate to managers, or from supervisors to executive. Horizontally occur between people at the same level, or between people at corresponding level in different divisions. Information flow in business organizations, and organizational, the more you control, the less you involve, the more you involve, the less you control. This is what some informations flow in business communication. So this is, conferring, you want to learn from them, yet they control the interaction somewhat. Instructing, explaining, do not need your audience opinion. and collaborating. You and your audience are working together to come up with the content. Thank you so much.